The night was quiet in the alien village. Twin moons floated above the dark sky, their silver light falling on the roofs made of stone and clay. The air was cold, and a thin wind moved through the empty streets. Most families were asleep, dreaming, safe dreams under their warm blankets. Inside a small house on the edge of the village, a mother slept lightly. Her ears were trained by years of fear. She woke at every sound, even the rustle of the leaves outside. She had one child, her daughter, and she guarded her with her whole life. A soft whisper touched her ear. It was not the wind. It was the trembling voice of her daughter. The little girl stood near her bed, her wide eyes shining in the moonlight. Her small hands clutched the fabric of her nightclothes. She leaned close and whispered, "Mom, something grows on my back." The mother's eyes opened wide. At first, she thought, it was a dream, or maybe just a child's nightmare. She pulled her daughter into her arms and held her close. "It is nothing. You are safe," she whispered. Her heart, however, beat hard like a drum. The girl shook her head. "No, Mom, I feel it moving, it hurts." Her voice cracked, and her body shook with fear. The mother pushed aside the child's long hair and touched her back. Her fingers froze when she felt a small lump. It was warm, warmer than flesh should be. Her breath caught. She remembered old stories whispered in fear, stories of children who bore strange marks or growths. The elders had taken those children away. They said it was for the good of the village. But the mothers never saw their children again. Tears filled her eyes. She hugged her daughter tighter. Her knees weakened, but she forced herself to stay strong. The girl must not see her fear, not tonight, not ever. The mother whispered, "It will be fine, my child, I will protect you." Her voice trembled, but she made it sound like strength. She laid the girl back down on the bed, pulling the blanket over her shoulders. The child's eyes slowly closed, though she still breathed. In short gasps of pain, the mother sat beside her. She could not sleep. Her hands shook as she touched her daughter's hair. She listened to the sound of the wind outside. Each whisper of the wind felt like a warning. Each shadow on the wall felt like danger. She remembered when the elders had taken her neighbor's son many years ago. The boy had only been 6 years old. He cried, clinging to his mother's arms. The guards pulled him away. The mother screamed until her voice broke. No one ever saw the boy again. The village never spoke his name. The woman shivered. Could it be the same curse? Could it be the same fate waiting for her daughter? Her heart said no, but her mind screamed yes. She felt trapped, alone, and helpless. She stood and walked to the window. She looked at the village. Sleeping under the moons, every house seemed peaceful, but she knew peace was fragile. If anyone discovered the truth, they would come for her child. The night stretched long. She prayed silently to the stars, asking them to protect her daughter. Her tears fell, but she wiped them quickly. She had to be strong, stronger than the fear that wanted to break her. Hours passed. The child turned in her sleep. She whispered again, "Mom, it grows." The mother fell to her knees beside the bed. She pressed her forehead to the floor. Her heart broke. The words cut into her like knives. She whispered back, "I will not let them take you, never." Her voice cracked. She kissed her daughter's small hand. She made a vow in that moment, a vow stronger than her own life. She would protect her child, even if the whole world turned against her. Outside, the night wind grew stronger, carrying with it the sound of distant footsteps. The mother froze, her ears strained. Was it just a traveler passing the village, or was it something else? The whispers of danger seemed to echo through the air. The child whimpered again. The strange warmth on her back pulsed like a heartbeat. The mother touched it once more. It felt alive, almost like it was growing under her skin. Fear tightened around her chest, but she forced herself not to scream. The village bells rang in the distance, slow and heavy, announcing midnight. The mother looked at the dark ceiling. She knew her life would never be the same again. Something had begun, something she could not stop. The girl whispered again in her sleep, "Mom, something grows on my back." The words echoed in the silence. The mother's tears fell on the blanket. She fell to her knees in pain, clutching her chest as if her own heart had broken. The night felt endless, and yet the dawn was coming. A dawn that would change everything. The sun rose over the alien village. Twin moons sank behind the hills, leaving a pale orange light across the rooftops. The village woke slowly, smoke rising from chimneys. People stepping out of doors, children running into the dusty street. But inside the small house on the edge, the mother did not greet the new day with peace. She sat near her daughter's bed, watching her breathe. The child had slept at last, but her body shook in small tremors. The mother reached to touch her back. Her fingers pressed against the lump, and she felt it larger than before. It was not only a lump, it was warm, alive, and faintly glowing. Her heart froze. She pulled back the blanket and looked closely. The skin around the growth carried faint lines, thin glowing veins that shimmered under the skin like blue fire. The mother's chest tightened. She whispered to herself, "This cannot be." Fear spread inside her like ice. She remembered the forbidden stories long ago told in whispers, the stories of chosen children, children marked by strange light. The elders called them cursed, the people called them dangerous, and those children were taken, dragged away before they could grow. The mother covered the child quickly, wrapping her in a cloth. She kissed her forehead and forced a smile when the girl opened her eyes. "Did you sleep well, little star?" she whispered. The child nodded weakly, but her eyes filled with confusion. "Mom, it still hurts." The mother held her close. "I know, my love, but you must be strong. You must not tell anyone about this. Do you understand?" Her voice was sharp now, almost desperate. The child's eyes widened. She nodded slowly. "I will not tell, Mom, I promise." The mother sighed, but the fear did not leave her heart. She stood and walked to the door. Outside, the village bustled. Neighbors greeted one another, laughing and carrying food baskets. To them, it was a normal day. To her, it was the beginning of a nightmare. She pulled her hood over her head and walked quickly to the market. She had to act normal. She had to smile. She had to keep the secret safe. She bought bread, water, and herbs. Her hands shook as she paid. She prayed no one noticed, but whispers always traveled fast. An old woman at the well called to her. "Your child was not in school yesterday. Is she unwell?" The mother forced a smile. "Just a small fever, nothing more." The old woman frowned, her eyes sharp, but she said no more. The mother hurried home. Her chest felt tight. The village had eyes everywhere. If anyone suspected the truth, they would report it to the council, and then the guards would come. When she entered the house, her daughter sat near the window, sunlight falling on her face. She looked pale, her small hands pressed against her back. "Mom, it is hot," she whispered. The mother rushed to her, lifting her shirt carefully. Her breath caught. The glowing veins had grown brighter, stretching further across her back. The mother fell to her knees. Her hands covered her mouth. Her tears came again. She whispered, "Why the stars choose you? Why not me?" She wanted to scream, but she held her voice. The child touched her mother's hair. "Don't cry, Mom. I am not afraid if you are with me." The mother's heart broke. She hugged her daughter tightly. She swore again in silence that no one would take her child. That night she locked the doors, closed the windows, and lit no lamp. She sat in darkness with her daughter, listening to the quiet outside. The girl slept in her arms, but the glow on her back shone through the thin cloth. The mother wrapped her tighter, hiding the light, but as the hours passed, she saw shadows move outside. She heard footsteps, slow and heavy. The village guards walked the streets, searching. She pressed her child closer, praying they would not knock on her door. The footsteps faded, but her heart still raced. She whispered to herself, "They must never see. They must never know." Her mind burned with questions. What was the growth? Why did it come? Was it a curse or a gift? She had no answers, only fear. She looked at her daughter's sleeping face, innocent and gentle. She knew only one thing: she would fight the world if she had to. As the night dragged on, she dreamed of escape. Maybe. Beyond the hills, maybe into the forest where no guards went. She thought of the stories of humans. The strange wanderers from another world who sometimes appeared in distant towns. Some said they brought danger, but others whispered they carried knowledge. Perhaps one of them might understand. The child stirred again, whispering in her sleep. "Mom, something grows on my back." The mother's hands trembled, her knees weakened. She fell to the floor in silent pain, clutching her chest. Her heart ached like it would break apart. She knew the truth now. The mark was no simple sickness. It was something greater, something that could not be hidden forever. But she would try. She would fight every dawn and every night. She would keep her daughter safe, even if it cost her own life. The glow on the child's back pulsed brighter, filling the dark room with faint blue light. The mother stared at it with fear and awe. Her tears ran down her face. She whispered, "My little star, they will never take you." Outside, the wind howled through the village, carrying with it the promise of danger yet to come. The days that followed were heavy with fear. The mother woke each morning with the same thought: how to keep her daughter's secret safe. She watched the girl with every breath. She counted the beats of her heart. She studied the glow that now shone brighter through her skin. Each night, the child whispered in her sleep, "Mom, it grows." And each time the words tore through the mother's heart, she held her close, rocking her gently, whispering promises she was not sure she could keep. She kept her daughter inside the house. The other children of the village played in the street, their laughter echoing through the narrow lanes. Her child sat by the window watching with longing eyes. "Mom, why can't I play with them?" she asked. The mother's throat tightened. She forced a smile and said, "Because you are special, and special children must be careful." But the neighbors grew curious. They whispered when they saw the child no longer in school. They whispered when they noticed the mother always rushing home. A few even knocked on her door, asking questions. The mother gave the same answer every time: "She is sick, only a fever, it will pass." Still, doubt spread like smoke. The village was a place of small secrets, and none stayed hidden for long. At night, the mother sat by the fire. She thought about the past. She remembered her own mother's voice warning her as a child. "If ever you see the mark, never speak of it. Never let the council know, or you will lose what you love most." At the time, she thought it only a bedtime story. Now she understood the truth. She moved the furniture in the house. She blocked the cracks in the wall so no light would escape. She made her home a prison, yet also a shield. The child's body grew weaker. Sometimes she cried in silence. Sometimes she screamed in pain. The mother gave her herbs, cooled her forehead with wet cloth, sang songs of comfort. But nothing stopped the strange growth from spreading. The blue veins crept wider, curling like roots across her back. One evening, the girl clutched her mother's hand. "Am I cursed, Mom?" The words stabbed the woman's heart. She shook her head fiercely. "No, you are not cursed. You are my child, my light. Never think you are cursed." She hugged her tightly, as if holding her could erase the pain. But deep inside, the mother wondered, if this was not a curse, then what was it? The village council announced a gathering. The bells rang and all families were called to the central square. The mother's heart raced. She told her daughter to stay hidden under the bed. She wrapped her in blankets to cover the glow. She kissed her forehead and whispered, "Do not make a sound, not even a whisper, no matter what you hear." The council leader spoke of strange signs, of changes in the sky, of dangers that might be near. He ordered the villagers to be watchful, to report any sickness or strange behavior. The mother felt eyes on her as she stood among the crowd. Her hands shook, but she kept her face calm. When she returned home, she found her daughter shivering under the blankets, her eyes wide with fear. "Mom, they will take me, won't they?" The mother fell to her knees, holding her close. "No, one will take you, no one, I will never allow it." But even as she said the words, a knock came at the door. Her heart stopped. She opened it to find a neighbor, the old woman from the well. Her sharp eyes studied the mother carefully. "I heard sounds last night crying. Is your child worse?" The mother forced a smile. Yes, but it is nothing serious, just the fever. The old woman's gaze lingered too long. The mother closed the door quickly. She pressed her back against it, her chest rising and falling in panic. She knew the old woman suspected she knew time was running short. That night she decided she could no longer face this alone. She thought of the human stranger she had once seen in the market months ago. He had spoken gently, unlike the cold voices of the elders. Maybe humans knew things others did not. Maybe one of them could help her daughter. But there was no human. In the village now, only whispers of travelers passing through the outer roads. Reaching them would mean leaving the safety of the village walls, risking the forest, risking discovery. The mother sat in the dark, her daughter asleep in her arms. She stared at the glowing mark on her back. The light pulsed like a heartbeat, steady and strong. It was not dying, it was growing. She whispered to herself, "This is my secret, my burden, and no one will take it from me." She pressed her forehead to her daughter's and swore silently. She would lie, she would fight, she would even kill if needed. But the council would never have her child. The wind howled outside, carrying the sound of distant drums. Perhaps the guards were patrolling. Perhaps it was only the night, but to the mother it sounded like fate marching closer. And still the child whispered in her sleep, the same haunting words. "Mom, something grows on my back." The mother closed her eyes, tears slipping down her cheeks. She clutched her daughter tighter, hiding her in her arms. She knew she could not hide the truth forever, but for now she would bury it deep, for the village would never understand, and the world was not ready for the secret growing in her child. The sky was heavy with dark clouds. A storm was coming. The mother stood at her door, staring at the horizon. She felt the weight of the secret pressing harder with every passing day. Her daughter's back glowed brighter now. Sometimes it pulsed through the cloth. Sometimes the child whimpered in pain. The mother prayed the village would not see. That evening, when the rain began to fall, the villagers hurried to their homes. The streets emptied and the sound of thunder rolled across the hills. The mother closed her shutters, locking her daughter safely inside. But as she turned, a shadow moved outside her door. A knock followed, soft at first, then stronger. Her heart froze. She thought the council guards had come. She pressed her child against the wall and whispered, "Stay quiet, do not move." She opened the door slowly, ready for danger. But what she saw was not a guard. It was a stranger, a human traveler. He stood in the rain, water dripping from his worn coat. His eyes were tired but kind. His hands carried no weapon, only a small pack. He bowed his head slightly. "Forgive me, I seek shelter. The storm caught me on the road." The mother's breath shook. She had heard of humans, distant wanderers, rarely seen in the village. Some said they were troublemakers. Others said they were wise. She hesitated, but the thunder cracked loud above. Her daughter's soft cry rose from inside. She had no choice. She stepped back and said, "Come in." The stranger entered, shaking water from his coat. His eyes moved around the small house, resting on the dim fire and the simple furniture. He smiled faintly. "Thank you, I will not trouble you long." The mother nodded, though her mind raced. She poured him a cup of hot drink. Her hands trembled as she set it down. The stranger noticed but said nothing. He sat near the fire, warming his hands. The daughter peeked from behind the wall, her wide eyes fixed on the human. The glow on her back shimmered faintly through the cloth. The mother rushed to cover her, but the stranger had already seen the child. His gaze softened. He smiled gently and said, "You have a beautiful daughter." The mother forced a stiff nod. She pulled the child close. The little girl whispered, "Mom, I like him." Her words made the mother's chest tighten. She shook, her head quickly whispering back, "Do not speak." The human looked away politely, but his eyes held quiet, knowing. As the night deepened, the mother noticed his kindness. He did not pry. He asked no questions about her fear. He spoke instead of distant lands, Of forests that stretched for days, of rivers that glowed under the moonlight. The child listened, her pain forgotten for a moment. She even smiled. The mother felt torn. A part of her wanted to push him out, to guard the secret alone, but another part of her felt something she had not felt in many days. Hope. When the fire grew low, the stranger turned serious. His eyes met hers. "I do not wish to bring trouble, but I must tell you I saw the light." Her breath caught. She held her daughter tightly. "You saw nothing," she hissed, but the human shook his head gently. "I saw enough and I know what it means." The mother's body stiffened. Her knees weakened. She whispered, "Then you will tell the council." Her voice broke with fear. But the stranger leaned closer. His voice was calm. "No, I will not. I have seen this before. Not here, but on another world. It is not a curse. It is not death. It is a gift." The mother stared at him, unable to believe. The word gift echoed in her mind. She had only ever thought of it as danger, as doom. She shook her head. "The council will never believe. They will take her away." Her tears spilled. The child touched the stranger's hand. Her eyes filled with trust. "It hurts. Can you make it stop?" she asked softly. The human's eyes softened. He shook his head slowly. "I cannot stop it, but I can help you understand it, and I can help you protect her." The mother's heart beat wildly. She did not know if she could trust him. Yet his voice carried no lies, only sorrow and truth. She saw something in his eyes, a shadow of pain, as if he too had once lost someone. Outside, the storm raged. Lightning split the sky. The village bells rang, a warning that the guards were on patrol. The mother felt her chest tighten. If they knocked now, if they saw the glow, it would all end. The stranger rose, his face hard with resolve. "If you trust me, we must prepare. The council will not forgive secrets, and they will come sooner than you think." The mother held her daughter close. Her tears fell. She looked from the stranger to her child, caught between fear and desperate hope. For the first time, she wondered if fate had sent this human for a reason. The glow on her daughter's back pulsed brighter, filling the room with blue light. The stranger's eyes narrowed, but not in fear, in determination. He whispered, "I will help you, no matter the cost." And in that moment, the mother knew her secret was no longer hers alone. The storm had passed, but the silence after it felt even heavier. The stranger sat near the dying fire, his face lit by the faint blue glow from the child's back. The mother stood close, her arms wrapped protectively around her daughter. Fear burned in her chest. Yet she could not ignore the words the human had spoken. At last, she whispered, "Tell me what you know. What is this curse?" Her voice cracked, half pleading, half demanding. The human shook his head gently. "It is no curse. It is something old, older than this village, older than your people's councils. I saw a mark like this once before, on another world. It grew on a child just like her, and that child carried power." The mother's heart pounded. Power. To her, it sounded like danger. Power was something the council feared, something they would crush. She shook her head quickly. "No, it cannot be. She is only a little girl. She only wants to play. She cannot be part of such things." The human looked at the child. His eyes softened. "I know she did not choose this, but the truth does not ask for our choice. The truth grows whether we wish it or not." The child reached up and touched her mother's face. "Mom, am I broken?" she whispered. The mother pressed her lips to her daughter's forehead, tears spilling. "No, you are not broken. You are my heart, my life." But inside, she felt the fear eating her. She had spent weeks believing this was a curse. Now this stranger told her it was power. What if the council knew? What if they had been taking children not to protect the village, but to hide the truth? Her mind raced with questions. "What happened to the child you saw?" The one with the same mark? She asked. The human's eyes darkened. His voice grew heavy. The people around him grew afraid. They chained him. They tried to cut the mark away, but it was not flesh they fought, it was light. In the end he died, not because of what grew in him, but because fear destroyed him. The mother's knees weakened. She held her daughter tighter. The image tore at her soul. Her child could not suffer the same fate. She would not let it happen. The human leaned closer, his voice firm now. That is why you must be careful. If your council learns of this, they will take her. They will not understand. They will destroy her. You cannot trust them. The mother already knew this in her heart, but hearing it confirmed by another cut her deeper. She whispered, "Then what do? I cannot hide her forever. She grows weaker each day. She cries in pain. I cannot watch her suffer." The child whimpered softly, as if the light itself answered. She bent forward, clutching her small chest. The glow spread wider, lighting the whole room in blue fire. The mother gasped, covering her with blankets. "Stop. Please stop," she begged the stars. The human placed a hand on the mother's shoulder. "The more you hide it, the stronger it pushes to be seen. You cannot bury light. You can only guide." And the mother turned to him sharply. "Guide it how? She is only a child." The human looked at the girl with quiet sorrow. "I will show you. I know some ways, not all, but enough to help her endure. I cannot take away the pain, but I can help her live through it, if you let me." The mother hesitated. Her whole life she had been taught to trust no one. Now she was being asked to trust a stranger, a human no less. Yet when she looked at her daughter's pale face, she knew she had no choice. "Help her," she whispered, her voice breaking. The human nodded. He took out a small pouch from his pack. Inside were herbs and crushed minerals. He mixed them with water and laid the paste gently on the child's back. The glow dimmed slightly. The pain eased. The girl sighed, her eyes fluttering closed in rest. The mother's tears flowed freely. "Thank you," she whispered. But the human's face stayed grim. "This is only a small relief. It will not last. The truth will keep growing, and the council will keep watching. You must be ready." The mother sat in silence, her arms wrapped around her daughter, her eyes fixed on the glow beneath the cloth. She knew he was right. The council already suspected. She had seen it in their eyes, heard it in their questions. They would come, it was only a matter of time. The human stirred the fire, his voice low. "I can take you away. Beyond these hills, there are places where the council's reach is weak, but it will be dangerous. The roads are watched. The forests are full of eyes. If you stay, they will take her. If you leave, you risk everything." The mother closed her eyes. Her heart felt split in two. She wanted to run to save her child, but the thought of leaving the only home she had ever known filled her with dread. She whispered, "I need time." But time was the one thing slipping away. The child stirred in her sleep, her lips moving, with the same haunting words, "Mom, something grows on my back." The mother fell to her knees again, holding her tight. Her tears wet the blanket. Her pain filled the room. The human watched in silence, his hands clenched. He had seen this story before. He would not let it end the same way. Outside, the night grew darker. Torches flickered in. The streets. The sound of guards' boots echoed through the village. They were searching, they were hunting, and soon they would find what the mother had hidden so long. The night was long, and the mother could not sleep. She sat near the fire with her daughter in her arms, watching the faint blue light that pulsed. Through the cloth, each glow was like a reminder that time was running out. She heard the guards' footsteps outside, their voices echoing in the street. They were searching, always searching. The human sat across from her, his face serious. He spoke quietly so the child would not wake. "They will come sooner than you think. You cannot hide her forever. You must decide, will you run or will you stay and face them?" The mother's eyes filled with pain. She had lived her whole life in this village. Every corner, every stone carried her memories. But when she looked at her daughter's pale face, she knew the truth. The village was no longer home. It was a trap. Still, fear gripped her heart. "If we run, where can we go?" she whispered. "The forests are full of danger. The hills are watched. We will not make it far." The human's voice was firm. "I know paths they do not. I have traveled places where their torches do not burn. It will not be easy, but it is the only chance." The mother stared into the fire. The choice burned inside her. To stay meant death or worse. To run meant fear and danger. But what mother would not risk everything for her child? She looked at the human with desperate eyes. "If I trust you, if I go with you, will you protect her as I do?" The man's jaw tightened. He nodded slowly. "With my life." His eyes held no lie, only the weight of old wounds. The mother felt his words settle in her heart. The child stirred, opening her eyes. Her small voice broke the silence. "Mom, I dreamed they took me away. You tried to stop them, but they hurt you." Tears filled her eyes. The mother kissed, her forehead whispering, "I will never let them hurt you, never." But even as she spoke, a heavy knock shook the door. Her body froze. Her heart jumped into her throat. The child clung to her mother. The human's eyes flashed. He rose silently, hand on the dagger at his belt. "Open in the name of the council," a voice thundered. Outside, the mother's blood ran cold. The guards. The human leaned close, his voice urgent. "Choose now. If you open that door, it is over. If you run, I can lead you away, but you must decide this moment." Her breath shook. She looked at her child, glowing under the cloth. She looked at the door, rattling under fists. She felt her knees weaken, but she forced herself to stand. Her voice trembled. "We run!" The human nodded sharply. He pulled open the back window, rainwater dripping from the frame. He climbed out first, then reached back for the child. The mother handed her gently, then followed. They slipped into the night. The storm clouds had parted, leaving the ground wet and dark. The air smelled of rain and smoke. Torches burned in the streets as guards spread out searching. The human led them into the narrow alleys, moving swift and silent. The mother carried her daughter close, praying her glow would not be seen. Behind them, the guards broke down the door of the house. Angry shouts filled the night. They had discovered the empty home, and now the hunt would begin. The mother's chest tightened with each step. Every sound of boots, every flash of torchlight made her heart race. She feared one mistake, one wrong turn would end it all. At last, they slipped into the forest at the edge of the village. The trees rose tall and black, their leaves whispering in the wind. The human moved quickly, guiding them through the shadows. The mother followed, her legs aching, her arms heavy with her child, but she did not slow. She would not stop. Her choice was made. She would protect her daughter, no matter the cost. They walked, for hours, until the sounds of the village faded behind them. The forest grew thicker, the path darker. Strange sounds echoed from the trees, the cry of hidden creatures, the snap of branches. The mother's fear grew, but she held her daughter tighter. Last, they stopped near a rocky hill. The human lit a small fire hidden between stones. He handed the mother a piece of bread from his pack. She fed her child carefully, watching her eat with weak hands. The glow on her back still pulsed, softer now but steady. The human spoke, his voice low. "The choice you made tonight saved her life, but this is only the beginning. The council will not stop. They will send men, they will follow the trail. You must be ready for what comes." The mother nodded slowly, exhaustion in her eyes. "I do not care what comes. I only care that she lives." The child leaned against, her mother whispering half asleep, "Mom, it grows." The words cut her heart again, but she held her daughter close. She whispered, "Yes, my little star, it grows, and I will protect you until my last breath." The human watched in silence, his face grim. He knew the path ahead would be dark, but in the mother's eyes he saw something stronger than fear. He saw the fire of choice, the fire of a mother who had given her soul to her child. Outside, the small circle of fire, the forest was alive with unseen eyes. The hunt had only begun, and the mother's choice had set their fate. The forest was dark, alive with strange whispers. The mother held her child close as they walked, guided only by the faint torch the human carried. Her daughter's back glowed through the cloth, pulsing brighter with every step. It was as if the mark itself knew they were running. The child moaned softly, her body trembling. "Mom, it burns," she whispered. The mother's heart cracked. She stopped and knelt, wrapping her arms around her daughter. "Hold on, little star, I am here." She pressed her lips to the girl's forehead. Her tears fell, mixing with the glow. The human crouched beside them, his voice low but steady. "We cannot stop for long. The guards will follow. The council will send hunters, if they find the trail. They will not rest until they take her." His eyes were sharp, scanning the forest. His hand rested on his dagger, ready for danger. The mother's chest ached. Her daughter's pain tore at her soul, but she knew the human was right. She stood, lifting her child again, her legs burned, her body weak, yet she pressed on. Her will was stronger than her fear. Hours passed until the moonlight broke through the trees. They reached a clearing. The air was heavy with mist. The human raised his hand. "We rest here, just for a moment." The mother laid her daughter on the soft grass. The glow spread across the clearing, painting the mist blue. The girl's face twisted in pain. She cried, "Mom, it is growing faster." Her voice shook with terror. The mother fell to her knees, clutching her hands. "Stay with me. Please stay with me." The glow burst suddenly, brighter than before. A pattern formed on her back, strange lines curling like wings of light. The mother gasped, covering her mouth. The human's eyes widened, but not with fear. With awe. "This is it," he whispered. "The change is beginning." The mother shook her head. "No, she is only a child. She cannot bear this. It will kill her." The human's face hardened. "It will not kill her unless fear destroys her, unless you give up." The girl screamed again. Her small body arched as the light spread. The mother fell to the ground, clutching her chest as if the pain was her own. She cried out, "Take me instead, take my life, leave hers." Her voice echoed through the forest, but the glow only grew stronger. The girl's eyes opened, glowing like twin stars. She looked at her mother and whispered, "Don't cry, Mom. I can feel it. It is not only pain. It is something else." Her voice trembled but carried strange strength. The mother wept. "You are too small for this. You should be laughing, running, not suffering." The human placed a steady hand on her shoulder. "Sometimes the smallest ones carry the greatest light. She is not cursed, she is chosen, but it is your love that will decide if she survives." The mother looked at her daughter, her heart breaking and healing at the same time. She pressed her forehead to the child's glowing skin. "Then I will give her all my love, every breath, every drop of my soul. I will not let her fall." The glow softened. The child's breathing eased. Her small hand reached up and touched her mother's cheek. "It doesn't hurt as much now," she whispered. Her eyes closed slowly, slipping into deep sleep. The mother's body shook with sobs. She held her daughter close, her tears soaking the glowing marks. She felt both pain and relief. The human sat back, watching the scene with solemn eyes. He whispered to himself, "I have seen this before, but never with such strength. Perhaps this time, the story will end differently." The mother looked at him, her voice raw. "What happens now?" He looked at the child, then at the rising dawn. "Now you fight for her every day. Now you guard her secret with your life. And when the council comes, you must be ready to stand, not just hide." The mother nodded slowly. Her fear was still there, but something new had risen in her heart. Hope. As the sun rose above the forest, painting the mist gold, she held her daughter in her arms. Her eyes, burned with tears but also with fire, she whispered, "My little star, they will never take you. You will grow and I will be beside you." The child stirred in her sleep, whispering one last time, "Mom, something grows on my back." But this time the words did not break her. This time the mother smiled through her tears. Yes, my love, it grows, and so will you. The human stood watching the horizon. The path will not be easy, but together perhaps you will find more than survival. Perhaps you will find a new beginning. The mother rose, carrying her daughter close. The pain had not ended, but it had given birth to hope. And in that hope, she found the strength to walk forward into whatever fate awaited them.